It is now time for First and Football, and we start with Jayden Daniels, the LSU quarterback, now of the Commanders. He was on Fox Sports' All Facts, No Breaks, and he revealed something interesting that he has going down between himself and his college teammate, Malik Nabers. Here he is, snitching on himself.
Man, he wasn't supposed to tell nobody. It was supposed to be, we got a little something going on.
What's the bet, though? Is it money or is it what?
Yeah, it's money.
How much?
10. Who won Rookie of the Year?
Okay, before we get to the betting part, who do you expect to have a better rookie season, Greg? Nabers or Daniels?
Daniels. I mean, he's playing the quarterback position. He's going into a situation where they have talent around him. They have Scary Terry. They have Johan. They obviously went out and got Austin Eckler. Like, he has pieces around him that will allow him to thrive as a young quarterback. And he has the ball in his hand every snap. Like, he's at the advantage. Don't get me wrong. Nabers is a special player, but they have quarterback questions over there with the Giants that he's a dependent. Whereas you got one guy playing the quarterback position who dictates how this offense is going to look. So I got Daniels in this one.
I gotta agree with Greg. I gotta say Jayden Daniels because one reason only. Hey, it doesn't matter how good you are as a wide receiver. You don't have a quarterback that gets you the football. It doesn't really matter how good you are. And obviously with Jayden Daniels, he controls the ball in this offense basically every snap with his decision making. If they have coverage, situations where he can pull the ball down and run, he can make plays with his feet. But if you have to take a guess between one of these two guys who will have the best season, you add Austin Eckler, who in my estimation is one of the most underrated backs in all of football. You catch the ball out of the backfield. You have Scary Terry, just like JG just said. But listen, I'm going to go with Jayden Daniels.
You guys make really sound points about this, but that's not what I really want to discuss because you answered it right. What I want to talk about is how are you going to go in today's day and age in front of a microphone and announce that you have a personal bet for $10,000 about your own performance? Why would you do that?
I don't really think it's an issue because it's a friendly wager between the two of them. It's not like they're gambling on their performance against a certain team. It's just a friendly wager between those guys.
Does this happen often? Does this happen often in the locker room?
I mean, we've seen this with, I believe it was Brandon Marshall, AB. They were betting on a Rolls Royce who would have the best year or have the most yards, whatever. This happens. It just typically doesn't get out.
Have you guys done something similar?
No. I
don't lie to a microphone.
Man,
no.
Plax,
how are you going to sit here and ask me a question on national television?
So answer the question.
You got to answer the question.
Hell no.
You've never done it?
No.
Are you lying?
Yes.
Yes. I can tell from his face. I can tell from your face.
Exactly.
Just it's just me and you here. No one else is listening.
No. I have never made a wager with any of my teammates at any point in time in my 12-year career.
Lies. Lies.
Cap. All cap.
All right. Moving on to Second and Football. Chiefs general manager celebrating a Super Bowl championship. Brett Veach had some really interesting thoughts on rookie receiver Xavier Worthy. We all remember him from the Combine for how fast he was in the 40. But here's what he had to say about his expectations for the rookie receiver. I'm a little confused by this, but explain to me, like I'm a fifth grader, the sort of transition, the mental transition it takes to go from the college to the pros.
So what Brett Veach is alluding to is the idea of what they thought he would be able to provide them coming in right away, which is, and Plax, you know this, we're going to put you at this situation. There's a team, every team that drafts their player, they kind of have an idea of how they want to utilize that player. Andy Reid, we know that's his specialty, is utilizing in matchup situations. So they came in with a plan with Xavier Worthy. He's going to be our speed guy. We're going to put him possibly on the backside or even at the Z position, and he's going to blow the top off typically all the time. What Xavier Worthy wanted them to see is exactly what we're hearing now. When I come in, I'm going to show you that I'm more than just speed. I can be moved around in the slot, backside, front side, it doesn't matter, and I can handle the verbiage, the entire playbook. The number one thing as a receiver that you want to show is you're trusted. Not just by catching the ball and being where you need to be, but by understanding what it is that you're being asked to do. That's how you gain the confidence of your quarterback. Now your quarterback sees, oh, he's going to be in the right spot every time. Let's move him over here.
So, Plax, with the Rashee Rice situation still tenuous, and he's going to miss some games. I think that's very fair to say.
Right.
Does that provide an opportunity for Worthy to have to learn more than one position?
Well, you would expect Brett Veach and Andy Reid as the head coach of this football team for the scouts and Andy Reid to do their due diligence as far as going down to Texas and speaking to Sarkisian and that staff, asking them about Xavier Worthy's mental. Will he be able to handle a brand new offense, coming into the NFL? And Greg knows this, man. There's so many things that go in to having a successful offense as a wide receiver because, in certain protections, in certain situations where, if he's a slot or if he's the X wide receiver, different guys have different hot routes, based off of, if you get a nickel back come up from over the top of it, or if you get a middle linebacker or a weak side linebacker or whatever the case may be, who may be hot. So you would expect Andy Reid to know and to understand, can Xavier Worthy digest his offense, because they're expecting this man to come in right away and play, especially with the Rashee Rice situation. So I think that Kansas City got it right. They would not have traded up with Buffalo to get this young man if they didn't think he was capable of learning this offense.
So you just got finished lying to us. I'm going to ask you to be honest about this. Your rookie year with the Steelers, were there points of confusion? Were there points where you felt like you were a little over your head, just sort of like with the complexity?
Not so much because, back then I came in 2000, we were in the I formation offense. Basically, Jerome was going to get the ball 35 times a game. And so it was old school, man. I basically had like one or two hots based on being the X wide receiver. I was rarely in motion. And so it was a pretty, simple offense, under Kevin Gilbride and that staff. But, we basically ran the ball in football in Pittsburgh. And, we had this saying, man, listen, on Sunday, just get ready to go out there and get in the three-point stance at wide receiver.
It was the complete opposite for me.
Yeah, so you had Brett Favre, obviously an established quarterback, and Worthy's coming to something similar with Mahomes. What was that like?
It was a complete opposite. Obviously, I wanted to make sure that I caught the ball when he threw me the ball. Like,
number one,
catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like,
the single most important thing that receivers do is catch the football.
Let's start there.
Right. He's like, I want to catch the ball.
Absolutely. Yeah. But for me, because I was prepared in college my final year, I moved around in college. So I didn't just play one position. So I was accustomed to learning concepts versus just a position. And a lot of guys in the college game, they're just playing one position. And that's where the struggle happens, because you've been this entire time playing just one position. So then you get to the National Football League and you are comfortable playing either one position and or one side of the ball. For me, that wasn't the case. In Green Bay, they moved me around. I was able to absorb all the information and understand the concept. Once you understand the concepts of the offense, you can move around, you can play everything. And that's what puts stress on the defense, because now you can mix and match. If Plax is at X, but I can play X too, now you move him in the slot, you move me at X, it gives a different look. We can run the same play, formation variation. It's what gets the job.
Moving on to third and football. Eagles' new offensive coordinator, Kellen Brown. Remember, Jalen Hurts didn't have a great year last year compared to the previous year when he went to the Super Bowl. But Kellen Moore had some great praise and looks forward to working with Hurts. So, Plax, we'll start with you. What do you expect to see differently from Hurts, and do you expect him to have a bounce-back season?
It's not about Jalen Hurts. I want to see something. I want to see a different result from Kellen Moore. Are you a premier offensive coordinator? That's what I want to see.
He's had a couple chances.
Oh, man. Hey, three offensive coordinator positions in 3 years. Dallas, you had Dak, you had CeeDee Lamb, you had Ezekiel Elliott. Then you go to the Chargers. You had Austin Eckler, who's now in Washington, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
And now you're in Philadelphia with A.J. Brown, D. Smith. You have Saquon Barkley as a running back, and you have an all-pro quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I don't think it's about the quarterback situation or the weapons that he has as an offensive coordinator.
That's interesting, because you look at all their skilled players and you look at Hurts himself, like those aren't really question marks, but it's almost more who's the biggest question mark on this offense if you look at it.
Hey, I'm going with the results, and right now I'm just going to say Kellen Moore. Are you a premier offensive coordinator?
I like where you're headed right there. I think he can get the job done. But I got to say this, as a guy who's played on different teams or has seen coaches come to different situations, it's always interesting because, to your point, He was saying this about Dak 3 years ago. Or 2 years ago. And then he said it about Justin. He said the same thing about Justin. Now he's saying this about Jalen. But Jalen does have to play better. Like, we understand you were playing injured last year, but the bar that was set was the previous year, the Super Bowl run. He played great, and he played great in that game when we didn't really expect him to be able to contend like that against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, but he did. And then to have the following year be as porous as it was last year, it was a fail. It was a fail, and I believe he understood that. When you look at the turnovers, like, this isn't who Jalen Hurts is.
That's the one that stands out. When you look at this,
you can't be that.
When you look at that, it's not as like the yards per game, the touchdowns, even the yards per attempt, pass rating is a big difference, but really it's the turnovers. And that, to me, isn't necessarily a system problem or a Jalen Hurts problem. It's more big mistakes and big moments or fumbles. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, anytime you're at quarterback, the number one, on the offensive side of the ball, you got to protect the ball.
So wait, let me get this right. So if you're a receiver, I want to just to recap, your receiver, number one priority is to catch the ball.
Catch the ball.
Okay, got that. Got that. This is deep analysis here from Craig Jennings.
No, you said, teach me from as though I'm in elementary school. So I went as though you were in elementary school.
So wait, just to recap.
Let's recap.
Receiver, catch the ball.
Catch the ball.
Absolutely.
That's using your
Quarterback,
hands. Catch the ball.
Protect the ball.
Protect the ball.
And
throw the ball.
Throw it
Right.
to your guys.
Right.
Advanced analysis here on the Carton Show.
Absolutely.
Moving on to fourth and football, Detroit General Manager Brad Holmes addressed a potential extension with quarterback Jared Goff. So what I find interesting about this particular extension is he's not a top quarterback. And we've got a list of sort of quarterbacks and extensions and what they've gotten paid, and he certainly doesn't feel like he belongs in this sort of Mahomes, Herbert, $500,000. So he doesn't feel like a top quarterback. So where do you think he sort of fits in the hierarchy money-wise and how this extension should get figured out?
Well, I will say this before I answer your question. It doesn't matter about that because the Lions know that he's their guy. Like, he's put the Lions on the map. He's provided them with something that they hadn't had since I was born. So, like, when you have a guy that it works for you, now all of that other stuff and comparing yourself to and putting you in the category with Patrick Mahomes, should we pay him this? Should he be the next highest paid quarterback? I don't even think
Do you think he should get top dollar as a quarterback?
I don't even think he will take that. He will take it. I'm not going to say he wouldn't take it.
Look at the screen. You're telling me he should be on this list? Jared Goff? Throw-in in a trade.
What I'm saying is when a team feels like you're their guy, they will be willing to put you on that list.
So basically you're saying the Lions are going to put a ring on.
Yeah.
Okay.
A ring on it. I mean, what else are they going to do?
You don't agree with this, man.
The going rate number for a quarterback right now is Daniel Jones, which is $40 million. And that is what all the quarterbacks are looking at right now when it comes to an ascension standpoint. He doesn't have to be on that list right now. He can be on the list with Kirk Cousins. I mean, those guys are getting $250+ million, but they're still making $45 million a year. Baker just re-signed an extension off of one good year that he had in Tampa Bay. He's making $33 million a year.
So if you're his agent, you walk in and you just slide the contract over and say, give me Kirk Cousins.
We want Daniel Jones money. Let's start there.
I think he's going for more than Daniel Jones money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Really?
That's the going rate for a quarterback right now. It's $40 million.
$40 million a year for Jared Goff.
Absolutely.
You don't believe he's earned that. You clearly don't.
It's right around the right number.
Come on. You gonna say he earned it, or is that what the contracts? Those are the contracts.
Well put, Mr. Burrow.
Quarterbacks are going.
I'm gonna say he's earned it. Because being tossed away by the Rams, which is basically what he was, we all didn't see him going to Detroit and budding and bringing this franchise to what they are now. We didn't see that. Dan Campbell and that staff has a lot to do with it and the personnel that they've supported him with, but he has executed. He hasn't dropped the ball like we thought or we assumed that he would. It kind of go to Detroit and die. No, he's found a resurrected life in Detroit, and he's giving them what they've never had. And so in giving them what they've never had, you're going to give him what he's earned because he's provided you with something that your fan base is excited about, like your organization is excited about. It's made it attractive for players to want to come and play in Detroit, and he's under the center.
I wouldn't go that far.
It kind of takes me back to one of my favorite sayings is, don't leave a good party looking for a great party. You know what I mean? It's like they're in a good spot.
Hey there, thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.